since May is Mental Health Awareness Month, we kind of wanted to do like a segment on mental health and how it affects teenagers.
Mm,
And we wanted to talk to you because we wanted to know how it feels to like struggle with mental health, but like also not really having the privacy to deal with it because you're like always in the spotlight because you are an actor.
mm,
So this interview, we're just going to ask you a few questions and get your input on certain things.
mm.
And the people who will be interviewing you is Tyree Bell and Delaney Peters. Tyree is the second vice president, and Delaney is our secretary.
Cool.
So take it away, guys.
All right. So, hi, Lexi. Like she said, my name is Tyree. I'm the second vice president. And to start things off, just tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us your story.
So I was born in PG County, Maryland. I was raised in Northeast DC. Ever since I was younger, I've always loved everything about the arts. Like growing up, my parents would always just inform me and just keep me, I don't know. They would always teach me about the greats that came before me. Even it was never a thing where it was like, no, you have to act or you have to sing. Like I was just genuinely drawn to it. It was something that my parents wanted me to know. They made sure that I always knew just about the history of the arts and just all the
Mhm.
greats that came before me. So when I was about really 10 years old was when I like really started to get into acting. I what did I do? I was in a Christmas Carol at Ford Theater. That was, my first thing ever. I what did I do? I used to sing the national anthem for the Wizards game. And I was only like 9, 10 at the time. But it was just the fact that, I didn't want to stay put. I was never a kid that just like wanted to stay put and wait for something to happen. Because it was something that I was so passionate about and something that I knew that I really wanted to do. So I wasn't just going to sit around and wait for somebody to give me the opportunity, especially being young in DC with not a lot of resources. If I saw something online, if I saw an opportunity, I wanted to take it. Um, so when I was about 11 years old, I auditioned for Lion King on Broadway, and I went in honestly with very low expectations. I remember going to an open call. I ditched school and I went to an open call, and there was over 1,000 people there, and that was just in that city alone. We said about over like 20,000 kids had auditioned, and it got narrowed down to 20. And I mean, I'm still cool with everybody that was a part of the audition process then, and I wound up booking Lion King, which was just such it was such an honor just to be a part of a production that's so, I mean, stunning, visually stunning, but there's just a deeper rooted meaning when you really see the show and you really pay attention to Lion King and the story in itself, and just being a part of a production that was led by basically all South African performers, and just learning more about that history at such a young age. And then not only with that, I was also touring the country. I was learning about new things, new parts of the U.S., which was incredible, and just seeing how this to us what we were doing was so small. We weren't really thinking about the cultural impact that it would have on anybody that came to actually go see the show. But having those conversations after, just of how the show touched people, how Lion has touched people ever since it came out in like the 90s. And so that was a really beautiful experience. And so right after Lion King, I moved out to LA. I've been out in LA for almost 6 years now.
Wow.
Been quite a journey for me to get here. So it took me basically 6 years to get my own show. And so just seeing, I've heard a lot of it's my journey has been full of ups and downs, and it's been full of nose. And in those moments, I get really discouraged. And I started to question whether it was all worth it, and just give up and go back home. But now just seeing the impact that Little Fires Everywhere has on a lot of people during this time, it brings me, I don't know, it brings me joy and happiness just of the fact that, if I did give up, if I let those no's get to me, or even if I did book those roles, if I did book those jobs, I wouldn't have done Little Fires Everywhere. And just Little Fires Everywhere, it was something that I was destined to do. And so I'm really glad that I just stayed put and I stayed positive and stayed faithful, because I wouldn't be here right now. So
That's
Aw.
wow. Wow. And you've done amazing in your parts. Like that's crazy.
thank you.
Um so you being an actress, how does it feel, being in the industry at a young age, since you are like 16, right?
Mhm.
So how does it feel like going into the industry full of, big people and all these things at such a young age?
It's interesting. Because I started out when I was 10. So I've been in the industry. I'm about to be 17. I've been in the industry for almost 7 years now. It's, I don't know. It's cool. I mean, like being with, I don't know, just this. I can't really speak on Hollywood, period, but I can speak on Black Hollywood and just the way that we like all come together and support each other, and how just all of, the incredible like adults that are in this industry, just how they constantly have our backs and let us know that they're here for us, is really empowering, and it definitely means a lot. But it's not too bad being a child actor. It has its ups and downs, but in the end, the adults are always there and they're always by our sides. And so that's, I don't know, it brings us comfort and hope.
Right.
That's good. So, of course, like you said, there have been ups, but there have also been downs. So, considering that you did not get every role that you went out for, how did you find a way to pick yourself back up after being turned down from a role?
I Everybody has their own journey and path, and if I was not destined to be an actor, then I wouldn't be out in LA. I wouldn't be in, the position that I am. And so even in those moments where it really does hurt, oh my bad, even in those moments where it really does hurt and all that, I have to see the bigger picture of it. I have to see the bigger picture as to why I'm in those positions, because every door that closes, another one opens. So even though I really wanted the role, that role is somebody else's blessing. My blessing is gonna come soon, and so I just had to stay faithful and positive and just hopeful.
That's crazy. So how has being, young, or, just being in the industry period, how has that taken a toll on your mental health? And then how have you overcome that?
It has taken a massive toll on my mental health, only because of the fact that there's so many eyes on you and there's pressure to be perfect all the time. Even when I didn't necessarily have a big platform on social media. I mean, Janice knows because Janice knew me like before Little Fires Everywhere, just before everything was kind of popping off. But I don't know. It's always been like this. No matter if you have 10,000 followers, 10 followers, 100,000, a million followers, like even if you are in the industry, everybody kind of struggles with mental health at some point, because when you are going to auditions, when you're on set, I mean, it's really tough on your anxiety sometimes, because we're only kids, and sometimes when you go into these arenas with these seasoned actors, with these veterans, there's pressure to be perfect. There's pressure to show up and to be on top of it. And sometimes I let that get to me, and it definitely affects me mentally. But in those moments, I have to realize that once again, I've been placed on this earth something. This is my calling. I have to keep pushing, because if I just let it get to me, then I always like to see the bigger picture of things. If I let all this type of stuff get to me, if I give up, then all the young Black girls, Black and brown girls that look like me, that look up to me, that are watching my social media, then they'll also get the message to give up, and that chasing your dreams, it's not worth it. It's just, you just got to give up. And so that's not what I'm trying to promote. That's not what I'm trying to put out there. So in those moments where I do feel weak, I have to remember that I am strong. And I think it's so beautiful to see a lot of my counterparts, Hollywood, really just standing up and being open with their mental health, because even though we're quote unquote, I don't know, even though we're influencers, celebrities, whatever people see us
Mhm.
as, we're still human at the end of the day. We all bleed. We all have the same necessity. We all need the same necessities to live. Like, we're all just, at the end of the day, trying to survive. We're doing what we love, but we're trying to survive mentally and physically.
Exactly. So, last question, if you don't mind. As an actress, have you ever had to push your feelings and emotions aside to get the job done?
Absolutely. There'll be people that you'll work with that you don't necessarily agree with what they stand for. There will be people that will just genuinely irk your nerves. There will be people that you just don't like, you got beef with, but you have to put your differences aside for that moment. Um, Yet again, I feel like I keep saying this, but it's like all this is so much bigger than us.
Hmm.
And so we've been hired, keep it professional, keep it classy, and I'm not the type of person to fake. If I don't like somebody, especially on set, you do your job, but you're not obligated to like speak or be buddy buddy with them. As long as you're respectful, you give everybody the same respect, you treat everybody like we're all equal, then we good.
That's right. That's
Period.
absolutely right.
That's wow. That's just that's crazy. Like you never know all the crazy things happening in the industry. And even if you ask all these different actresses, actors, whatever, they always have a different, different role that they see something different than they different perspectives. There's the word, and it's crazy. Thank you, Lexi. That like I feel like I've learned so much. It's just wow.
Thank
That's
you.
wow.
I
Yeah, no,
will. Oh, you can go.
no. I was no, say it.
I will say like being, I guess, friends with people I know are in the industry. I see like it's a lot of pressure, especially when it comes to social media. Like there's always gonna be somebody that doesn't like you, and there's always gonna be people that feel like they're entitled to like express their opinion. And not all the time is it gonna be good. So like, I appreciate everybody who's an influencer that, keeps a smile on their face because
Sure.
even though you may seem like, oh my gosh, everything is perfect, in reality, we know like y'all go through the same things. And I know it's very hard to, like be in the spotlight, especially when you're dealing with like a whole ball of emotions. And personally, I love the way you speak out on your platform. Like, I know you speak up about bullying and mental health, and Black Lives Matter and all that. And like that, makes me like respect you like 100 times more because it's like, you're using your platform for something that matters.
Yeah.
And not a lot of people do that these days because they feel like, it won't look good, you know. But yeah, I appreciate you for speaking up about the things that you care about.
Of course. I don't know. I mean, if I don't, then who will? If the celebrities and the people that do have reach continue to stay silent and they don't get out there. I saw a lot of people, a lot of celebrities that were out there. Michael B. Jordan was out there today and he was just passing out like tear gas relief. Like these, sometimes you don't necessarily see it on social media, which I don't always agree with. I feel like, especially if you have a million plus followers, you need to be, showing up and telling people to pull up. And like Rihanna was saying, like telling all your followers, your fans, the people that love to post about, Black Lives Matter and all that type of stuff, they need to pull up. But just even know that sometimes when you don't necessarily see it on Instagram or on Twitter, we're still there. We're still, marching. We're still fighting. And we're all a community because like I said, at the end of the day, all of us are human. We're all Black and we struggle with mental health. And so that at the end of the day, that's how we were born. We weren't born actors, we weren't born entertainers, we weren't born YouTubers, we weren't born with that. So it's important to speak up and to use your platform for good, use your voice for good, even sometimes use your privilege for good. Bunch of celebrities were up at the front today because people aren't going to shoot celebrities. They don't expect celebrities to go against the cops. And so it's just even like those little things. You may not see it on social media, but it's just a fact that we're using our platform, we're using our quote unquote celebrity privilege, whatever, for good and for better.
Crazy. That's wow. That's
Oh,
just girl. You don't sound like you 60. Like you sound like you've been here for ages.
Thank you.
Of course, of course. But let's take a breather. We know it's mental health. Let's woosah.
Yeah.
How was the process? Like how did you enjoy it?
Um, I really wish that I didn't have to protest.
Right.
Everything that you see on TV is not how it's really going down. I witnessed multiple police officers and Trump supporters start, lighting things on fire, start breaking things. And so that's why in the media we're being portrayed as thugs, even though it's not really us. There was something, I don't know, it was really beautiful to see like all the gang members on top of that were coming together and putting their differences aside. It's really crazy out in LA right now. They're doing a what are they crap. They're saying that everybody has to leave at 8 o'clock. Everybody has to be in their homes, and then if they don't, then they actually have the authority to start shooting people with actual bullets. They were just tear gassing. My mom was dodging bullets. We were all just dodging bullets, trying to stay safe. And there's just no need because we were all, coming. There was nobody that was trying to provoke the cops. The cops were provoking us. So if you do go to a riot in your area tomorrow, just stay safe. And when things get rowdy, just know that you can go home, and that even though you're going home, it's not like you're doing any injustice, because at the end of the day you did show up, you did show your face, you marched, you said their names, and you need to know when to go, because people are down there right now really looking for trouble and looking for an excuse to start shooting and really hurting people. So yeah.
oh, well, do we have any more questions?
Oh no.
Oh gosh.
It's my turn.
Here he
I've been
goes.
waiting. My turn. All right. So this question's from like 30 minutes ago. I'm Derek, and nice to meet you.
I can't hear him.
Being in the industry.
Hello?
Alexa. Turn off Bluetooth.
Do you have like a mic or something? Like it's like really muffled. Can't really hear you.
Can you hear me?
Oh, there you go.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
All right. So, being in the industry and you being in the game for 7 years, you said?
Mm-hmm.
7, 8, 9? I forgot the number.
It's about to be 7. Yeah.
It's about to be 7.
Mm-hmm.
You going through like the Me Too movement and all the injustices in the industry, like a lot. I don't know if you went through it, hopefully not, or know anybody that did go through it. But like the sexual assault in the industry and being young, do you ever feel like you're pressured to do things you're not supposed to, or you ever been like in situations where anybody came up to you and you just don't know how to feel? Sorry, that was like such a dark question.
No.
Yeah.
It's a valid question. I'm very fortunate of the fact that every set I've been on has been really female driven. And I think that makes the biggest difference when there are female executive producers, female directors, just females on the set. Because that's what Little Fires Everywhere was, because we had Carrie and Reese at the helm. All their production companies are, full of women. Hulu is actually like full of women. Head of Hulu is a female. So it's just that really impacted the space that, they created. They always made sure that we felt safe at all times, that, nobody ever got out of line. I've never, come into contact with any like disrespectful crew member. Like everybody has just stayed intact. But as, just with whatever's going on, my heart really goes out to all the women that have been sexually assaulted. But just because it's Hollywood doesn't necessarily mean that there aren't still injustices happening within this industry, because there are. While I can't relate to the Me Too movement within the industry, I can still relate to racism in the industry, and just the fact that you have to work 10 times as hard as your white counterparts, even though it's all love, it's all good. There's just certain things that, you know, when you step on set, you can't necessarily do, like the white kids, because then when you do it, I've experienced it before when I've done the same exact thing that my white counterparts are doing. I'm the one that has to take the fall, and I'm the one that's seen as unprofessional and all that type of stuff. I think it's the same thing as women, where, especially back in the day, where it was like,
Oh,
you know,
that's interesting.
it really started to get like crazy on set. You can't do things that, you know, the men do on set. You can't. And it's sad, but this is the world that we live in, and this is just the industry. Um, and you gotta just take it with a grain of salt and keep it pushing, but know what it is too. Don't be oblivious, don't be blind to any of the issues just because you're an actor, just because you're a whatever, just because you're working. At the end of the day, everybody's capable of something.
Wow.
Since you talked about like you have to work 10 times harder than your white counterparts, has there ever been an opportunity you missed out on because of the color of your skin? And can you like explain how it made you feel if you have experienced that?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's been multiple times where I've seen it's been, there was, what was the one role there, it was like they wrote it to be black, they auditioned a bunch of black girls. I was like their number one choice, and then all of a sudden they're like, no, we don't, actually we're gonna go in the white direction.
What?
These characters were literally written to be black, so I'm incredibly confused as to why you're hiring white actors to portray these roles that were originally written to be black. So I've dealt with that before. But other than that, no, I'm very fortunate. I know my privilege as a light-skinned girl in this industry, and with whatever platform I have, I also like to add colorism into the mix because I have a dark-skinned mother, and most of my friends are dark-skinned in this industry as well. And so I see, even just with what they have to go through, they have to work even harder as I do, which is a shame. There are certain roles where I know um, if I receive the audition and it looks like, or with whatever, because there's a adaptation of a movie that's coming out, but on the front of the cover, it's a dark skinned girl. And so I had to call my agents and be like, I'm confused. Why are you sending me this? This deserves to go to a dark skinned actor. So with whatever, you know, platform I have, I also want to speak up and know that, yes, I go through things as, you know, a black girl in this industry, but I also know that my dark skinned brothers and sisters in this industry also have to work just as hard as I do uh, to properly be represented on this television screen, and just know that not all black people look like this. Not all black parents that are portrayed in the media are biracial parents, you know, like interracial marriages, or it's not just two light-skinned parents, just a bunch of light-skinned kids. We come in all different shapes, sizes, colors, and all that type of stuff. And so as long as I'm here and an actor and I have a voice, I'm going to continue to keep on fighting for those things too.
Thank you for coming today, Mrs. Underwood, and joining the Prince George's County Youth and College NAACP. Thank you for your remarks and enlightening us tonight after you came right from a riot.
Yeah, no, thank you all for having me. It really means a lot.